Hi, and welcome to Mark Allen's Culinary Adventures. Here's a question for you. What state has the Alamo? I've actually seen the Alamo, and it's one hell of a lot smaller than you would have thought. Very tiny. Anyway, we're going to go to Texas in just a couple of moments, and we're going to be making Texas chili. But this chili has a twist. It's either Texas kosher chili or it's kosher Texas chili or it's Dallas. I'm so confused. We're going to unconfuse me in just a couple of moments. Don't go away as Mark Allen's Culinary Adventures takes to the air. So a couple of weeks ago, I was at the Natural Products Expo West. I was speaking there, and I met a young man, and he turns out to be a chef. He's a registered dietitian. He's spent 18, 19 years cooking in restaurants, and he does restaurant food writing right now. And so we're going to bring in, and I think I'm getting your name right, David Fetter. Did I get that right? And David Fetter, Dallas Kosher Chili Cook-Off.
Yep.
Yeah, right. And David is one of the judges. So we're going to be doing that. Before we do that, I've had a day, and I tried to find some, and I'm opening a bottle of beer. This is a Corona. It was the closest beer I could get. Wait, it was the closest beer I could get to Texas beer. And I asked somebody at a liquor store, he said, I can't get it. He said, it's just very hard to get. This is, of course, my favorite church key, or in our case today, synagogue key, to open beer bottles with. And thank you, Grandpa Bernstein. All right. I'm going to pour myself some beer. David, join me.
Already ready to go.
And you can see what this says. It says, don't mess with Texas. And the funny thing is, it was made in Mexico. So with everything going on right now, I thought that was pretty funny. I'm going to wish you a l'chaim. How's that?
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Okay. And this is familiar from Corona. And they told me that this is the Corona that they sell in Mexico rather than the pale stuff that they sell mostly here in the U.S.
As long as it's cold, it's okay.
And I should have, I don't know if you do this, but, well, we do this with tequila.
Yeah. And Mexican beer, yeah.
Right? And this is a lime, and there's almost nothing, wait, there we go, wait, there. Nothing better than the smell and taste of fresh lime. I'm going to do that now. Did I do it backwards?
You need salt and lime.
Yeah, I don't like the salt part. I don't know why, but anyway, and the those are delicious limes from Melissa's. And you watch, that bottle of beer will disappear at one point because Carol will be drinking it because I'm making her crazy today. I just
Magic
have to,
beer.
right. And then I want to taste one tomato, which is part of our, You were right.
Those are the bomb.
That is the cancer. And that is, boy, that's a good tomato. And we have a whole bunch of those who go into our chili. So we're going to show you how to make an award-winning chili today. One of the things, David, I wanted to know is I'm not using the powder that says chili. it's
It's so much better when you make your own. Fresh ground spices, plus you adjust them the way you want them to taste. The chili powder in a packet, yeah, that's for people in Minnesota.
a lot of Jewish people in Minnesota, and the chili would
There
keep
are.
them warm, right?
This is true, but my goodness gracious, I don't know if they can handle the heat.
So what we're going to do is we're going to make the chili. We're going to be talking about David and his background. He's cooked, as I said. Um, uh, he's had training with many chefs, including Wolfgang Puck. By the way, Wolf, if you're doing your Seder this year, your celebrity Seder, David and I will come as a couple. It's okay.
A couple of what?
A couple of what? We're
Wolfgang is
available.
amazing. He is amazing. He and I have only seen each other. I mean, since I worked for him a little bit, we've only seen each other a couple of times, several years apart. Every time he sees me, perfect memory. David, how are you? How's he names it all. He's got it.
Well, we're going to start by just going over here and making this our Melissa can. We have serrano chilies. We have fresh cilantro. Does cilantro and lime go together? It would seem to me that that would smell
Beautiful,
wonderful, right?
beautiful. Hmm.
We have some sweet onions, garlic, shallots, and chilies. These are chipotle chilies from Melissa's, and we used them. I ground them up earlier and made my own chili powder and coughed and sneezed. So be very careful if you do that. We should put a disclaimer, David,
This is
on the
true. Yeah.
recipe, right?
When you
By the way, the
handle
recipe,
hot chilies, you
yes,
make sure that you wash your hands. Some people say use gloves. I don't know, but wash your hands and don't touch any sensitive parts
right,
of
like
your
your
body.
eyes,
Yeah.
like
Well, yes, your eyes. I was thinking eyes. Yes, that's right.
yes, yeah, right. The other thing, well, what I do, and I did this a couple of weeks ago, I use plastic bags, disposable plastic bags, and I put them on my hands while I'm cutting the chilies, and especially if I'm going to seed them, because I think that it's really an important thing to do. Um, we're going to start by, we've got some garlic here. These are, I peeled them. I'm going to crush them with a garlic crush press in just a couple of moments. From Garcia de la Cruz, we have some olive oil here, and we don't need that much apparently. So um, this is olive oil from Spain. It's really, really quite good. Okay, here we go. I'm going to turn on our pot. And David, when you're doing a recipe, do you normally like people to follow the David recipe or can they experiment?
It depends on their level of expertise. If they have the experience in the kitchen and the experience with recipes, knock themselves out. And I put ranges for things. Some people like it hot. We've got ranges of peppers. You can use, 2 to 4 on the serranos, on the chipotle peppers. You can adjust how you like. I wouldn't go much further than that because you want your chili to be um, true
You
to the
want it to have
recipe.
some taste. You want it
Well,
to
yeah,
have
but it should be
taste.
true to the recipe. After you've made it a few times, mess with it all you want for your own taste.
Well,
But
I
start
know
out with
that
the recipe.
the purpose of this show is simple. If you're single or maybe a couple and your kids are out of the house or you're even in college and you're trying to uh, break the fast food habit, we're here to help. We're here to show you simple, easy, very tasty recipes. A couple of weeks ago, A young man went to a hot, spicy chili contest, and he died. He died, and
Ooh,
so you've got to be very careful. You really do. But this is going to be a tasty chili with a little bit of a kick. And David has said that this is like a 3 alarm, right? Out of
yeah,
five
got a
or
three
six.
alarm.
Yeah.
I made it
All
with my
right.
7-year-old in mind. I thought he would have a little bit of a difficulty with the heat. Nah.
He's
he,
like his old man.
he is. He started to put scorpion pepper on everything like I do.
Oh
So
my. All right. So I am squeezing with a garlic press uh, garlic into the hot oil. I'm using 4 large cloves of garlic, following the recipe.
yeah, I think I said 2 to 4. Just
Yes, we're
yeah.
garlic lovers, so
So you get the 4.
we got the 4. So,
Now
Carol,
you
could
you
you
tend
hand
to
me a
put your
wooden spoon, please?
you tend to
I'm
put your
sorry.
garlic in a little earlier than I do. Just so you know.
Sure.
Um, I don't add the garlic until the onions have been sweated.
Oh, okay. I add the garlic first. I always have. I don't know why. And speaking of onions, there we go. I find that if I do it this way, I don't know. They tend to I don't know, cook better, cook faster. It's just the way I've always done it.
Okay.
Um, we have these special tomatoes. Tell us about these because these are one of your favorites, aren't they?
They are, and I owe it to Melissa's Produce, Robert at Melissa's Produce. He turned me onto those Marzanos. They are what I like about them is they're like the sweet cherry tomatoes or sweet plum little plum tomatoes, but their flavor is far more tomatoey, if that makes sense. It's a
Yeah,
real powerful. They're sweet, but it's a powerful tomato flavor in that little package. So that's it. But you can use any tomatoes. You can use heirloom tomatoes. The key though is it's got to be a ripe tomato. It's so hard to get a ripe tomato outside of a farmer's market anymore, or
right.
growing them. I just planted mine a few days ago. So
Yeah, we're about 2 weeks away from doing it here. We're going to try it again, folks, and show you the Allen family garden as it grows. Carol
oh wow.
doesn't even know that we're going to do that again. It was so um, uh, great the first year we did this. Bless you. Um, the first year we did this, the tomatoes were great, and we haven't had a tomato in 4 years. I don't know
My,
why.
yeah, mine failed last year, but the year before I had planted some yellow cherry tomatoes, and they were great.
Ooh,
But my pepper plants went nuts last year. I had several pounds out of just one plant.
oh my.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, we did Fresno. I've been doing. I bought a couple of Fresno pepper plants, and I love the Fresno. I love the flavor. They're very hot, and they grow green like this, and then as they turn red, they turn down and redden up. And when they're green, they're sweet, but when they turn red, oh, they get a
Yep.
little hot. Okay, we'll show you some shots now of the garlic and the onion cooking. David, what is the next step for us?
Well, we're going to end up adding the meat. So let me double check. We're going to add the meat, saute it till it's brown. The serrano peppers about halfway through the cooking of the meat, and that's going to take 7 to 10 minutes.
Okay,
And then I'll jump to the next step when that happens.
got it. So I have about 2 pounds uh, of chuck stew meat. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the other question that I had about chili. This is not hot dog chili, is it?
Oh, I mean, you could put it on a hot dog. Hold on, I'm having. There we go. I got the sun coming in, so had to move the camera.
Ah, I've turned the heat up to high to brown the meat, and it'll
Okay.
take a couple of minutes to do that.
Okay. You don't want to scorch it.
No. And while the meat is cooking, let's talk about David a few minutes. Uh, you started cooking. You were very young, 5 or 6 years old,
Yeah.
to help out at the at home with because your mom was ill.
Yep. Well, more to fend for myself. She was bedridden ill for several months, and I made my own omelets by the age of 5. Simple, egg and cheese. But by time I was 7 or so, my sister and I would watch all these cooking shows, and then on at night on the weekends at 2 in the morning, we would sneak down into the kitchen and start cooking, baking usually, but we just make whatever interested us from either the Betty Crocker cookbook or from one of the shows we watched. And that's, by 15, I was working full time in restaurants. So going to
And
high school, still pulling 40-hour weeks.
wow, the
So
according to your bio, you became friendly with Graham Kerr,
I
and
did
Graham would I've read a couple of his books, and he was known to drink a lot on camera,
on camera.
but
It was
on
show.
camera, yes, it
Yes.
was a show, but apparently off camera, he didn't really care much.
Slurp.
Yeah,
No, he told me once. He was my idol. Of all the shows we watched when we were kids, his was our favorite.
yeah,
And when I was working for Better Homes and Gardens magazine, and then they gave me my own quarterly magazine called Lifestyle, and I profiled chefs who like to cook healthy or were interested in taking a healthy twist on their cooking style. And Graham, I reached out to Graham. He was my first profile, and we just hit it off, thick as thieves, and stayed friendly for many years. He's 91, just turned 91 a few months ago now.
he's
So
still he's still cooking.
uh, I I kind of lost touch with him. Maybe about 7 or 8 years ago. So
But he's still alive. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
he's still alive. 91. He got remarried a few years ago.
Well, he
So
was, if I remember correctly, he was from Australia or down under.
England, and then served, I think, in the army in New Zealand,
Okay.
and yeah, and but from England. So
And
never
but he
lost.
became popular down under first.
Yes, that's true. And then here. So um, love the guy. He's everything that you would think without the drink.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, he told me that in those days the whole thing on camera was for show, but that
Right.
he would have an occasional glass of wine for dinner. But when he more or less disappeared for a while, everybody thought that it was due to drink, and it was because he was taking care of his then wife Trina, who had multiple medical issues, and then I think cancer it was that
Ooh,
he just took everything off, just done and focused on her, and then
and
she
she
got
was
better.
his producer. She was his
Yeah,
producer, right?
yeah. She got better. He nursed her back to health, and she only passed a few years ago. So
Let's let's bring up a close up of David and take a look at his very purple shirt. And
yep.
the Dallas Kosher chili
Really
cook-off is coming up
mhm.
at
End
the
of the
end of
month.
this month, end of the month, right? And
Yep.
um, the the this is something that I find fascinating because there's two things in Texas that we all know about. One is barbecue,
Yep.
and barbecue, Texas barbecue is fabulous, and the other one is chili, and so you have both of these things. How do you make them? How do you make them kosher?
Well, it's surprisingly easy with the chili. It's in the meat. Now, all the ingredients have to have a kosher certification because of the facilities they're made in. And then you just don't add cheese. You don't use any dairy because in kosher laws you have to separate meat from dairy. Um, According to your tradition, you have to put as many as 6 hours between eating meat and eating dairy,
Right.
and so you just don't top it with cheese. But the kosher chili cook-off started as a fundraiser for my family synagogue, and that was 33 years ago. But this is the 30th year because of COVID, and
Well, I have to
it,
point out that even though he doesn't sound it, David is actually a, a Texan. I've got the chili that I've made
you got to stop
that,
breathing
yeah,
it.
wow, but it
You
smells
smell it
so
like this.
good.
You smell it
Yeah.
like this.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Oh, it smells so good. Let me show you this, David. The meat is browned.
Okay, then now you throw in the spices and the serrano peppers. We got to talking, but the serrano peppers should have gone in halfway through the cooking process.
All
And I
right.
got the
Well,
sunlight coming in on my face again.
all right.
There
I'm gonna use two serranos. Serranos are. I don't know what the heat level is on these. Um,
Well, serranos are like jalapenos. Some of them they've been inbred enough to lose heat that it's almost like you can't tell what you're going to get anymore. So the range is pretty wide. I think something like, if I remember right, 6,000 to 20,000 Scoville units for heat.
right.
Um, yeah, and so they can be as mild as a hot jalapeno, or they can be as hot as a habanero, almost as hot as a habanero.
So what I'm gonna do is here's my plastic.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
now those
and
you don't seed. Don't seed them. Don't seed those. You're seeding them.
I am seeding them. All right. I'm only gonna seed one.
All right.
Okay.
You
Yes.
don't seed fresh peppers because that's where all the flavor and all the heat, is.
So
So
how should I cut these now? Should
I just I just chop them up tiny. Yeah, about like that.
um, you're married and you understand this. I don't know if, everybody is different. So, uh, Carol does like spicy food. We had some, we were away and we had some spicy Chinese and Thai food. the last few days. I'm just going to take these with my hand and throw them in.
Okay, just make sure you wash your hands after, or at
You will
least
hear the
before,
water running.
or at least before you touch any sensitive parts.
You will hear the water running. There
Okay.
you go.
Okay.
And I'm
You'll need soap.
using soap
Okay.
because it's
Well,
the capsaicin in that is in the peppers is very beneficial. They use it in a there it goes.
yep.
They use it in a wide variety of topical treatments for even arthritis
Right.
and things like that.
And
And
capsaicin has amazing phytochemical qualities that are, just believe it or not, it helps. It helps mitigate ulcers, stomach ulcers, and even can help encourage healing of stomach ulcers. Uh, Not a lot of people know that. It sounds like it's the opposite thing you'd want to do is eat a hot chili pepper, but it works miracles. And they are also an aphrodisiac. Um, so
ooh,
hot chili peppers, I think that's why a lot of people from the parts of the world where they grow them have a lot of kids.
well, they grow a lot, of course, in South America. I
Right?
have some
And
other things to
India.
add. I have. All right, I'm gonna. I looked this up. Okay, most
Okay.
and this is a controversy. So David and I may or may not agree, and that is that do peppers, beans belong in chili? These are actually pinto beans, as you can see. I bought them at Whole Foods. They are kosher. They are non-GMO, organic. They were $1.19. I couldn't resist. At another market, the same bean was three times as much.
Yeah.
So
So, well,
thank
the
you, Whole
controversy,
Foods.
as a Texan, you grow up hearing that whole, oh, you don't put beans in chili, you don't put beans in chili. But I got to tell you, I dug into that pretty deep many years ago when I was working at Better Homes and Gardens, and I couldn't find a source for not putting beans in your chili that was reliable or historical. And
It was just,
it just
but it's just in the rules.
well, that's just it. I have not only have I always put pinto beans in my chili, but most places in Texas that you go to that serve chili, it's going to have pinto beans in it. Sometimes red beans,
Wow.
but a little more toward East Texas, you'll get red beans. But yes, there are the so-called purists who have followed that rule and insist on that rule and get violent over that rule. And down here where we have, open carry, if they say don't put beans in chili, then just don't. You're safer
When
that way.
you were at the Dallas Kosher Chili Cook-Off, if I entered and I put beans in the chili, would it be disqualified?
No, not at all. And in fact, the only rules are that you have to use kosher ingredients, and the ingredients are checked by the rabbi before you're even allowed. In fact, not only checked, but you submit your ingredient list, and then they have buyers who will buy
Got
those
it.
ingredients, and that's what you're going to get. You'll have your package waiting for you if you compete. I've been judging this will be my 15th year judging. It's the 30th year of the cook-off. My brother-in-law was one of the founders of the chili cook-off. It started out, like I said, as a fundraiser for our synagogue, but it grew and grew rapidly to be one of the largest chili cook-offs in the United States, and that's of any type of
Wow.
chili, kosher or otherwise. So, sorry, we got the
So
sun going down here, and I've got to adjust the
that's all
camera.
right.
So, but yeah, it's the largest for attendance. We cap the participants at 50 because we don't want to taste more than 50 chilies. By the time we're done with the judging, we'll have each put back about 2 pounds of chili and
Oh my.
somewhere between 4 and 8 beers.
Well, if you have the beers, then I think you should be able to have um, eat that much chili.
Yes, and
So
it over several hours. It
right.
takes us about 2.5 hours to do the judging.
All right, we're getting down to the wire now. What we're going to be doing, just so you know, is I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients, and then I'm going to taste the broth. Um,
Mm-hmm.
David is instructed that this should now cook for at least another 50 minutes to an hour to
Yes,
thicken
simmer.
up, to
Yes,
simmer.
simmer.
So
Well, to thicken up and
should
marry the flavors. Mm-hmm.
um, into the
Yep,
bath here,
yep, and you don't drain it.
and you don't drain it.
No, it adds not only the moisture but the texture. Similar to fava beans, the the what would you call it? The liquor, the cooked bean liquor,
Hmm.
has some very nice fibers for thickening.
We haven't added the tomatoes yet.
Oh, you should have added those back with the meat. So yeah,
Well,
you were
I'm
supposed to
waiting.
add
I'm
those in.
waiting for directions. See, the way this
Sorry,
works,
you.
David, is very simple. Okay, if it tastes good, I've cooked it and I'm really happy. If it doesn't taste good, it's your fault.
Okay, I'll buy into
Okay,
that.
all right.
Now, speaking of chili and flavor,
Right.
um, just as with a pasta sauce or a stew or even a soup, if you think it's going to be good today, wait till you taste it after it's been put away for a day.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Those flavors just marry and grow and come together like a symphony, and it's really it's a beautiful thing.
There it is. There's
Yeah,
that Texas, that thing.
you were making fun of my accent. I have to confess, I spent 27 years in the Midwest.
Ah,
So 26 and a half, but I count it by winters because it started in Better Homes and Gardens is based in Des Moines, Iowa.
right, right. So
So
let's talk about one other aspect of your life, and that is you became a registered dietitian um, sometime after you went to culinary school, I believe.
no, I never went to culinary school.
Ah,
I came up in the 70s and 80s, so I just did the whole apprentice thing, and I'm not bragging, but I rose fairly rapidly. By 19, I was running a multi-million dollar high-end kitchen as the executive sous chef, and I just hammered away. I kept learning, and uh, but I'll tell you this: you have to have it's got to be in your blood. And I've known chefs who just didn't have it, and no matter how many years they put into it. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just talking about what it takes to. You have to think food, and I have eidetic taste memory. So anything I've ever tasted, I can bring it up in my head, that flavor,
mm-hmm.
and I can combine those flavors. And I'm also a super taster, with the more than 200 taste buds per square millimeter or whatever it is. I don't remember what constitutes that, but I passed that one.
Let's take our tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just I had a knack. That's really all I can say is I had a knack.
God.
So when my
Were your parents good cooks? Was your mom a good cook?
um mom is about to turn 91, and she's not doing as great as we'd like, so I'm not gonna badmouth my mom.
No, I'm not
she gave me
asking you. Yeah,
she
but
she gave me a great deal of of guilt because I hurt her feelings in one of my very first interviews as a chef back in the mid '80s, when someone was asking me the same question, and I said that I was in college before I knew that broccoli wasn't supposed to be gray when it was cooked. So,
Oh,
yeah. But
yeah.
she had some recipes that she was really excellent with, and her chicken soup. Come on, Jewish mama, chicken soup.
Well, coming
And
up are because tomorrow, and
mhm.
Carol, you can double check me, and I know you will. I believe it's the first day of spring. It is at least it is the first day of official first day of spring, and the spring holidays, Passover and Easter. We're going to be doing some specials. We're going to be doing some kosher wine tastings, and we're going to find somebody. We haven't found them yet to do some kind of Easter dish here on Mark Allen's Culinary Adventures. My question, though, is should everybody be able to cook? I mean, I like McDonald's every now and then, or other fast foods when we're busy. We just don't have time, but not as a regular diet, and that's why we do this show. I mean, we're going to be eating the chili for at least a month because we've made so much.
That's only
But
2 quarts.
yeah, it's there's 4 pound 2 pounds of tomatoes and 2 pounds of meat in there. So, and I tried to cut it down, and David said, "No, you can't do that." So we didn't. Okay.
But no,
Yeah.
seriously, if you think of it, 2 quarts will feed 3 to 4 people twice. And I made a batch. I froze it, and we're having it tonight, and it's great. I mean, like I said, those flavors have married, and it really came out beautifully. So
Well, it looks differently than most chilies. Most people, I think of chili having a red hue. This doesn't. I mean, it's got the tomatoes we put in, and
yeah,
well, I'm gonna taste it now, David.
okay,
Got to
I'll
do
join
that.
you. A
All
lot
right.
of a lot of those chili powders put annatto in them, which is great from a health point of view. Annatto is
Oh my.
is another one of those magic things. So, but I don't.
This is very hot, and I'm going to let it cook. Also, I think most people think of chili being really thick. This is not going to be a super thick chili. Um,
Well, if you
it'll
cook
be,
it down the way you're supposed to.
yeah, right. And yeah, yeah, it's really, really good. Now, you can eat chili in many different ways. The way I eat it is a little different than what David does. I'm going to have a bowl. We're going to put cilantro on it at David's suggestion. It's in his recipe, which will be on YouTube once the show is, well, you're watching it now, so you can go to the recipe. And, but you can eat it with tortilla chips
Yep.
or whatever. And I think that's really good. By the way, with tortilla chips, stay away from those that are fried in cottonseed oil. Yucky.
Yes.
Not good.
And
This is delicious.
for sure, I'd like to steer the viewers to preparedfoods.com, which is where the magazine I work at now. And if you want to learn more about the Dallas Kosher Chili Cook-Off, you can read A Bowl of Red, Hold the Bagel at preparedfoods.com. And you'll find out a little bit more about the Dallas Kosher Chili Cook-Off. Plus, there's
And
a
we'll, Carol, let's put that back up. Um,
okay,
right. There it is.
yeah. And then if you go to preparedfoods.com to read A Bowl of Red, Hold the Bagel, you'll
Got it.
you'll find out more. It's also got a picture of my daughter from a dozen years ago, but you'll
Got it. David,
you'll
thank you
learn.
very much. Will you come back sometime? We'll do something
I'm
else.
invited. If I'm
You're
invited,
invited. You're invited anytime. We
all right.
enjoyed you. Okay.
Thank
Hey,
you. Thank
thank
you.
you.
All right.
Um,
Bye.
bye. That was fun. Um, uh, David Fetter here on Mark Allen's Culinary Adventures. We haven't had a professional chef on for a while. David has been the first in at least a month. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. During the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some wine specials, and then we'll do something also for Passover, and then again for Easter. So watch us. I'm Mark Allen. Carol, as always, thank you. I really appreciate it. Dinner is going to be great. We'll see you next time.